Buddha would say, the best meditation for dealing with anxiety. And it's not what people are going to imagine. And so I want to give a bit of space to this just to address the fears, because the meditation that Buddha suggested is the meditation on death. And a lot of people quite reasonably might say, well, hang on a minute, that's the main thing I'm anxious about. That's what's driving my anxiety. I'm anxious about death and dying. And now you're telling me to think about it more? That's crazy. And a lot of people do have this idea that thinking about death is morbid. But I can't imagine anything more life-affirming. The one certainty in our life is that we're going to die. And if we hide from that, if we pretend that that's not going to happen, then each moment of our life is probably left a little bit unlived. And when death inevitably does come, for ourselves or for others, we don't know what to do. We're unprepared for the one certainty that there ever was. There's a story Geshe Kelsang tells, which I think really helps to convey how thinking about death is an incredibly healthy thing to do, and how it's quite a natural part of living a good life. And so he tells this story of a child going to the beach and digging and making a little sandcastle, little moat, and is loving it. I don't know, maybe they're adorning it. This is the first time they've been at the beach, and they've invested so much creativity and energy into this magnificent palace. And then, of course, inevitably at a certain point, the tide changes, the water's coming in, and the child realizes the water is going to take away my castle. And there's an anxiety response. No. And maybe they turn to the parents with these sort of like needy looks. And the parent might be flattered. I love the fact that you think I'm that powerful, but I cannot turn back the tide for you. And so inevitably the water comes and it washes away their creation. Maybe there's floods of tears. Maybe, all of that carries on. And it's a big nightmare disaster day. But quite possibly the next weekend, the same child is at the beach again, digging a sandcastle. A little bit better this time. They've got a bit more practice. Shells adorning things. They maybe brought some Star Wars figures and they're putting them in. Who knows? They've invested just as much. They're having just as much fun. But this time when the wave comes, they always knew it was coming. They always knew. And so it becomes almost part of the enjoyment. Like now it's just washing away. There was this creation that dissolved. And now the child is in tune with the natural cycle of things and is able to enjoy it. And that's the kind of flavor that we can get in our life when we start to think about our own death a lot. Now, I was recently in Hong Kong, and one of the students who came to the big Buddhist festival there, and she wanted to tell me about her mother's passing. Her mother had passed a few months before. Her mother was a very, very devout Buddhist. Her whole life she had spent praying to Guan Yin or Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion. And the way she died was so inspiring to her daughter. Like she was literally on her deathbed and her daughter was there, a little worried, and she would just say to her, "It's okay. I am so ready. I am so prepared. There's nothing to worry about. I am going into the embrace of Guan Yin, the Buddha. I'm going to the pure. It's all fine." So the mother who was dying was able to pacify and reassure the child. And I think if whoever has thought about death a lot will find that they have a superpower in those moments, which can be the most painful and uncomfortable moments. Like let's say we're the child and it's our parent who's facing their death. For parents, I think it can be incredibly difficult to die because the sense of responsibility that comes from bringing a child into the world is huge. Like my own mother, I won't say how old she is. I'm not sure she'd appreciate that. But, I'm getting old, so she therefore must also a little bit be. But she's still looking out for me. She's still, she's calling me up and checking, are you eating right? Are you resting well? Are you exercising? The sense of responsibility is huge. And I think for a lot of parents on their deathbed, they feel, I can't go. This is a big job. But if from the side of the child, probably the adult child at this stage, they're able to almost give permission, not necessarily verbally, so sometimes that can be a beautiful thing to say, but to communicate by the mindset that we're in, we're going to be okay. You've done a great job. You've raised us well. You've given us what we needed. We're going to be okay. This is your time now. You can, whenever it's right for you, just let go. You've done a great job. And that can help that person just gently relax and let go. And then equally, as I was saying with the story of this woman in Hong Kong, when it's our turn to die, if we can be in that place where we're okay with it, the peace that we can give the family that might be worried about us is enormous. And the example that we're setting is such a powerful teaching. These things don't happen by accident. Like a lot of people think, oh, I'm not afraid of death and fine. I think we know from having tried to spend a lot of time really sitting with it, there is a moment where it's quite confronting, and there is time where we have to work through these quite deep truths. But the reward at the end of that is enormous. And then specifically with respect to anxiety, what our anxiety always does is it zooms in, it amplifies, it exaggerates. It doesn't feel like that's the mechanism, but that is what's happening. Our life can feel a little bit like a soap opera, like a drama of the week, where we lurch from one serious situation to another serious situation. And if we could bring in death awareness, realizing I'm going to disappear. I'm going to leave all of this behind. Most of the things that our anxiety kind of hooks onto, people's opinions of us, and so forth. We realize when I'm on my deathbed and beyond, it's really not going to matter. It's really not going to matter. And this can come in as a sort of gentle calmness. Or also we can use this as a sort of emergency release from our anxiety. In the same way that the breathing meditation can be an emergency anchoring. The mind has got caught up in the past or the future, into the present. Just be present. We can start to use something a bit more powerful like death as that. When I was first appointed to be a teacher at a bigger Buddhist center, I'd had a couple of years at a quite small center, and then I was asked to be the main teacher at a big center, and I did find it quite overwhelming initially, or at times anyway. And the thing that really helped me when I noticed this sense of pressure or anxiety, what I would do, my sort of default was I would stop for a moment and think, maybe I'm dying now. Maybe this is it. And that it's a little bit like a slap in the face. But what it does is it really clarifies, if I am dying now, and it's a bit of an act of imagination, but at the same time, death is uncertain. We could die at any moment. We don't know. Like, it may have felt a little bit unlikely at the time, but nonetheless, I can think, maybe this is it. And if this is it, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to worry about that. There's this sort of clearing of the mind that happens. What's important, what's not important. What's important is my stillness. Where am I at? Who am I? What kind of being am I bringing into this world, and will I carry into my next world? And it's incredibly effective to just clarify what matters and what doesn't matter, and just get still. And a minute of that then allows the mind to go back to whatever was going on, but now with a sort of a wiser approach, where it's not I have to make this turn out this way, or I have to make this turn out that way. It's I have to be the best version of myself for these people in this situation. Even if I can't fix it, even if it still falls apart, I need to try to be the best version, because that's what matters for me, and that's the best benefit I can bring to them. And that meditation on death makes that so much easier.